Good morning, everyone. This is Luda Kopikina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate news of the day as essential, important, and optional, pointing out the trends and use cases that you should be aware of and saving you time in your day. Let's start with the first article on Kaj today.
Luda coming right up. Okay, the first one that we have for today comes from CIO Magazine, and it talks about how CIOs will be spending ambitiously on AI in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, that's an interesting article talking about several companies that have already invested in AI and what they're planning on doing. What do you think about this, Paul?
This is the second or third article we've seen or research. Morgan Stanley came out with a report that suggested similar thing. I actually had this as essential, and I was kind of echoing my Tim Andrews' back pocket justification for this. We're moving into budget season here. Doubling investments important. This is a credible magazine, CIO, IDG's little on the high side, but certainly a well-known organization here. And they've got articles in there like March McClellan, which has 40 Gen AI applications in production here. So I think AI leaders need to know that people are seeing a doubling in an IT spend category, which rarely happens. So I had it as essential.
Paul, could you come close to the mic and increase the volume?
He's using headphones, I think.
Yeah, so something is not quite. Say something.
Any better?
I can hear him fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So essential. What do you think, Tim?
It's a little over the top, but I'm used to it from you guys. So I would say important. There's nothing in here of substance other than the numbers and the amount of investment. So that's substantial. I'm not saying that's not substantial, but there's just zero detail on any of the case studies or exactly what they're doing. But I think Paul's points are good, that it's a good reminder that if you're not doing this, everybody else around you is, and they're doing it at a pretty rapid clip with a pretty fair amount of money going into production. So that's all good. So I would have said important. I can back essential. So
the other thing that on the essential side is I've now had 3 calls with Fortune 500 companies in the last 2 business days. All 3 are asking, what's our competitors doing, and are we behind or not? So this kind of benchmarking.
Benchmarking is important. I agree. Benchmarking is important. Everybody, as I like to joke, wants to be the first person to be the second person on the block.
Yeah, I actually was important on this article, but I think I can go up to essential, because in fact, as people increase their budgets, they need the support, and some of the ROIs are not quite ready to be published or to be announced yet. So it's good to have the backing. All right, let's put it as essential. Next one. Ankaj.
Okay, yes. So the next one talks about changing the perception of ERP in the make, move, and sell sectors. So it talks about how Epoch AI is using Gen AI across its ERP solution.
Yeah, so ERP hasn't been part of our discussions that much, but this is where a lot of data resides for manufacturers and the like. So I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't been. What do you think about this, Tim?
It's interesting. This is basically a marketing piece for a product announcement. So I would give it an optional. But I think you're right. If you have time, I guess we could even say important in the if you have time category, but because it's a product announcement and there's zero detail in it again about even what systems it works with, I had it as optional. But to your point, ERP is often the system of record for a lot of valuable data in corporations. So it should be a place where people are looking.
Yeah.
But there just was nothing in here at any level of detail. And again, it's a product announcement basically. So this is a puff piece, it might be called.
Right. I get that. But I rated it as important. Here's why. The public company I ran in the past was in this space, supply chain management tools and ERP type software. So the predictive, like in the inventory management space, when you have a lot of data, and we had tools to, or every ERP system has tools to predict and do what if scenarios of how the demand and supply will come together. This is, and it was very difficult to use all the past data. So what this article goes through, it says, look, we've built the all the data pipes, we organize the data to use ML on it, machine learning algorithms and the like on it, and now we're building the AI, the Gen AI that will dig into historic data. So for me, this is where the automation and wisdom in inventory prediction will come from, with massive savings for manufacturers and retail guys. So I just think that this should be highlighted as at least important, if not essential. And I know, Tim, you're going to say, this is a product announcement. True. But I think it is important area to highlight. Paul, what do you think?
I'm on the other side, Luda. I think if you are in charge of inventory and $50 million inventory ERP system, and you're not looking at Gen AI, you should be fired on the spot. You should just be walked out the door. This is November 2004. This is now February 2023. So I'm on the other side. I think it's like if you're a software company, don't have Gen AI in your roadmap. You're smoking dope.
So you would put essential, or you would put important?
I put optional.
Oh, you put optional.
Yeah.
Oh, saying that people should be fired on the spot if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe important here, but yeah, I think it's. Anyway,
Okay.
just
Important
grab your chalk, Luda.
Yeah, grab your chalk. Important it is. Okay. All right. Next one, Ankash.
Okay, the next one comes from HBR, and it talks about how Gen AI is already impacting the labor market.
This was assigned to me. So this article talks about the research that HBR has conducted on what's happening in the labor market. They focused on online workers, the freelancers, and did some analysis. If you can scroll down, there are two graphs of how after ChatGPT was announced, what happened to the market. See the drop here? And this is, I think, I forget what this is. Hold on a second.
This is about jobs they classified as automation prone.
Automation prone.
And these are proxies. These are not actual figures, right? These are inductions.
Right. And then the next one, the blue one, is the image generated related job.
Graphics are, so these are basically gig jobs is what they're trying to look at.
Correct.
So, but it is blog posts and people creating graphic designs.
So it is an indication that they see is how the market was affected. But then they go over and talk about what is happening, where people are reskilling and upskilling, and come up with what do you need to do as best practices to retain workers and the like. So I put it as optional. But I'm willing to go up to important if that's what you think.
No, I had this as, well, you can talk, Paul.
Optional.
Yeah, this is super optional.
Super optional.
For so many reasons. These are this is if I wanted to be really colorful, my title would be "No, you know what, Sherlock." Golly gosh, we can automate blog posts. So postings on various gig sites for blog posts are down, and posting for graphics media is down since we have graphics generators.
So Luda, it's not a good day on AI news if we don't have a spoonful of snark. And, we'll get to John's.
Plus, it's all induction. There used to be an old joke long time ago, probably 50 years ago, about you have to be careful because 50 years ago SAT scores were much higher in the Northeast than the South. Therefore, cold weather induces better SAT scores. Right. And there were actually theories, people actually spouting this and saying, well, it's because you can't get outside as much, so people spend more time studying. And so you have to be careful about these statistical conclusions.
Yeah, totally. In Russian science, there was a book, Russian Scientist Joke, and one of the jokes was people who died last week all ate cucumbers.
Uh-huh.
That's
Therefore, cucumbers are deadly. Right.
Right. Okay. So optional it is. Let's look at the next one. Ankash, please.
Hey, the next one is a thought leadership paper from Deloitte talking about how AI agents are reshaping the future of work.
What do you think about this, Paul?
There's so much hype and energy around agents. I thought this was an interesting article. I had it as optional. I think we're still early days of agents. There's so many different flavors out there. I think for the enterprise right now, most cases, I don't want to look into agents yet because it's still too early. So I had it as optional.
Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. All I needed was some background music, it's just so hyped, and they never even defined what an agent was. They never gave any serious examples. This is just one of those breathless, over the top, everything's going to be great articles with absolutely, what do we call this? With an evidence-free zone. Absolutely no evidence.
Yeah, and fascinating. The last one came from HBR, and this is Deloitte, right? And yeah, optional it is.
This is why they get a bad reputation, because they wave their hands and say all sorts of over-the-top things with absolutely no evidence or insight, as far as I can tell. And they're late to the party. I mean, McKinsey and Bain and the others have been writing about this for well over a year.
Yeah. So here's Vivek's opinion that there's not that many agent systems in production, and people are focused on establishing.
You don't even know what they are. I don't know how you talk about something if you don't know what it is.
Well, Paul has been on the campaign to define the agent or see it when it was defined. We only saw one definition of all these articles that come through about agents, right, Paul, or something? Like one or two max.
That's correct, but don't let that slow down the hype channel. Salesforce hiring 100,000 sales reps. So
people ignore it anyway, as John and my great friend and mentor Alan Kay said, language gets colonized. And so he invented this term called object-oriented programming, but everything that's ever been written pretty much in the 50 years since has nothing to do with what he was talking about. And
okay, optional.
Same thing here. If this becomes important, everybody will just claim their system is agentic because it's good marketing. Like everybody already says, my company is doing so much AI that market value is going to triple next year.
Yeah, totally. Okay, next one, Ankash.
Okay, the next one is a research paper from Walmart. It talks about triple modality fusion. So it more or less talks about how Walmart is using visual, textual, and graph data with large language models for multi-behavior recommendations.
Yeah, obviously recommendations to buy on their website. Okay, so Tim, what do you think?
It's an interesting research paper. It's Walmart, which is to be taken seriously in the retail space. But it's a research paper. If you want to read you want a long, interesting read in mathematics over the weekend, you can take this on. I don't think most of our populace that's interested in this program is of that ilk. And there's, it could be really important, but again, they haven't really rolled this out. They have done some experimentation that seems to demonstrate it's good. But again, I would also say here, be careful what you wish for, because the more data you throw into recommendation and understanding a person, the more you assume you're correct, but it's still just statistics. And I think, a lot of recommendations I see personally, anecdotally, still have nothing to do with what I'm interested in, because they have no sense of simple things like temporal purchases. Like, oh, I don't buy a car every week. So every once in a while I buy a car and I'm intensely interested maybe in some car stuff. And then it goes away, but I'm still getting car stuff for months and months after I've already purchased a car. So focusing in on what what already has been done is appears to be better using these algorithms. But as Yogi Berra said famously, predicting is hard, especially about the future.
Yeah, no, very, very good point. So you rate it as optional?
I rate it as optional. Yeah, it's a research paper. So for people interested in the research, you can take it more seriously, because again, this isn't a truly academic thing. It's done by people at Walmart who have some serious knowledge about retail. So I take it much more seriously because of that. But it is still research. The purported improvements are environmental environment. So there's no evidence yet that this thing actually helps in the retail space.
Yeah. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, optional as well. I do think it's notable for two things. One is that it's Walmart, big company, having its AI team published. So in terms of AI retention, I think that's a value proposition that's important for that. And Tim, the thing on the just footnoted well on the recommendation engine. I think in general you're right. Although the TikTok recommendation engine is certainly kicking the hell out of Facebook in terms of finding the right combination here, and I think the
Facebook will catch up. That's just because they are more focused on video. Yeah. I'm already seeing Facebook, flood me with exactly what I want, which is another reason to turn it off.
So optional. I know we've got time here.
Okay, optional it is. Yeah, I was actually vacillating on important because of the combination of techniques they used, and the fact that or even on this synthetic data and examples that they tested it on the metrics they tested it on, it produced really good results. So I thought it was very promising. And from the technical perspective and potential application perspective. So I was thinking important, but listening to you, maybe we should, and it's Walmart, so they probably lead the field in that space. But yeah, you're right, it's still research. So I'm okay with optional. All right, let's go next.
The last one comes from Epoch AI, and they have launched a new benchmark called Frontier Math. So, as the name suggests, it's for evaluating advanced mathematical reasoning in AI.
Yeah, so this was assigned to me. They essentially put together a set of mathematical problems that the answers to which have not been published. And so in order to solve them, you actually need to think this through and have the prior knowledge and put the prior knowledge together. And if you scroll down, Ankash, there is the current LLMs cannot do it. They solve 1% of that, if that, 1 or 2 maybe here. So bad. So that means that this is a set of tests that would be very useful as we progress in getting LLMs, agentic or otherwise, to start putting what they figure out from massive data together into reasoning. And that will take some doing, according to this. So it's still probably optional, but for people who are working on reasoning and the like, that may be important. But for the general audience, I think it's optional. What do you think, Tim, Paul?
Yeah, I say optional. I think it's, again, it'd be great if we had some more formal worldwide group do this kind of stuff. But I'm glad to see somebody's doing it because, again, as the models get better, the benchmarks need to get tougher to discriminate. So that's all they've done. They just made a tougher set of problems. So you can start to get some sense of where these models actually are.
I'm sorry, what is it?
What about O1's performance?
I don't know. This wasn't on.
Wasn't very good.
Was it on the list? Is it?
Yeah, it's right there. O1 preview and O1 mini. So they may not have done the full O1. Although is O1 even officially out? These may be the only ones out right now. So, but none of them were very good. Yeah, they're all below 2%. So.
Yeah, so this highlights the fact that LLMs are just statistical predictors of what they know and not really reasoning models. We tend to forget, but that's what they are, and this proves it pretty much. It will take us some doing to really get reasoning. I'm not sure what technique or what have you. Yeah, so optional it is, right?
Yeah, I had optional as well, Luda, and I think part of it is that how much this market's changed in the last 18 months. I mean, pushed so much market, people trying to just understand this technology. And now we've got corporate America moving from 5% to production to 33% a year from now. And this article to me is like an academic thing, how many angels dancing on a pin of a needle type of stuff, where we've got AI leaders whose careers on the line or how they're dealing with a doubled AI, Gen AI spend in 2025. So I think for our practical leader, absolutely optional.
Optional. Okay. All right. Let's have, that's the last article. Ankash, do you have the score for today?
Yes, Luda, coming right up.
I think we had one essential, one important, and the rest were optionals, correct?
Yes, Luda.
Hold on, I can't. Yeah, one essential, one important, and 4 optionals. So thank you all. Thank you for participating. Vivek, Ram, Ashish, wonderful to have you. Thank you.
Yeah, we have Vivek and Ram and Ashish. Luda, I just want to one announcement for the community. We had a fantastic discussion last night on deepfakes, detecting deepfakes from Raju, the CEO of Deep Media. So that should be posted later today. But if you're interested in that really important topic, I encourage you to watch his presentation. It was really engaging, and the audience was questions lining up pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.